Star Wars Young Jedi Knights Diversity Alliance Chapter 8. Everyone went their separate ways, but all wanted to see Born Unthol safely back with his family. Uncle Tycho, confident in the new hyperspace jump randomization program EMTD had created, took off for Mechas 3 on an ornate, boxy ship the color of tarnished brass. Immediately afterward, the young Jedi Knights, still in the docking bay with the trade wind and the rest of the hidden Born fleet, made a hyperspace jump. And as soon as the jump was complete, the little translating droid began supervising the Rocky Dragon's onboard nav computer as it calculated the best route to Kuar. A few things pleased Jaina more than the middle of a crisis than knowing she had a mission and the means to accomplish it. It felt good to be doing something, to be taking an active part in solving the mystery of Raynar's vanished father. She and Loie finished the pre-flight check in a record time, while Jason and Tenelclaw stored supplies aboard the Rack Dragon. When all of their preparations were finished, Arwen and Raynar came to the big flagship's docking bay to see the companions off. Using a time-delay message transmission, they had already informed Luke Skywalker of the change of plans, and now the Rock Dragon was ready to begin the search. Plainly wishing he could go with the friends, Raynar took a deep, slow breath. Jaina could tell he's doing his best to keep the worry off his face. Loie, seeing the young man's distress, rumbled a few encouraging words and thumped him on the back with a large, furry hand. "Don't worry about us, Raynar," Jason said. "We'll be careful." "Trust the Force, Raynar," Jason said, or Tenelclaw said. "May it keep you safe." "You can leave this job to us," Jaina added. "If there's any clue to your father's whereabouts in the ruins of Kuar, we'll pick up the trail." On impulse, she stepped forward and gave him a brief hug, much to Raynar's surprise. Then, to cover her own embarrassment, she gave Arwen a quick hug, too. "Well," Jaina said gruffly, turning back toward the Haven passenger shuttle and motioning everyone aside. "What are we waiting for?" Once they left the merchant fleet behind, Jason felt a subtle tension building inside him. He felt glad to be going along, but he didn't have a purpose yet on this trip. Jaina and Lobak were able to direct their energies into piloting the Rock Dragon. Tenelclaw searched for more information about the planet Kuar, punching queries in the datapad in her lab. But Jason just waited around with nothing important to do. He didn't like feeling at a loss. At first, he considered just leaning over and reading along on Tenelclaw's datapad, but he rejected the idea, afraid the distraction might annoy her. He had to think of something more substantial to occupy his thoughts. He didn't want her to think of him as a useless male, as so many of the men on Dathomir and Hades were considered. He didn't want to think of himself that way. He cast about the cockpit, looking around for some useful task, and his eyes lit on EMTD, who was plugged into the navigational control panel. "Hey, EMTD," he said at last, as long as we have the time, let's review everything we know about the disappearance of Born Unthol. Can you keep a list for me?" "Why, certainly, Master Jason," the translating droid replied cheerfully. "I'm always glad to be of service." Jaina glanced over her brother's shoulder and flashed her brother a grin. "Good idea. We can all listen in." Loie growled the opposite. Thol's last known destination had been the meeting on Kuvar, then he disappeared en route to Shumnavar. "Point noted," he said next. "Well, we know he was in the middle of some tricky negotiations," Jason said. "Something about a political movement, the Diversity Alliance. And he was keeping the subject of the negotiations a complete secret," Jaina added. "Dad was worried about them." "Excellent," EMT said. "Go on." "The Twilight woman, Nola Tarkona, was somehow involved in the negotiations," Tenelclaw said. "Indeed, if I might add a point," EMT said. "In the rubble field of Alderaan, we learned from Slave Force ship commander that Boba Fett was hired by Nolana Tarkona herself. That would imply she doesn't know where Born Unthol is either. So we can logically dismiss the possibility that she somehow captured him or destroyed his ship." "That makes sense. Nice piece of work, EMTD," Jason said. Loie growled the observation that Born Unthol might have been captured by someone else, or he might be hiding, or even dead. In any case, it seemed as if half the bounty hunters in the galaxy were out looking for Raynar's father. The Diversity Alliance had offered a lot of credits for the merchant's recovery. "The price must be very high enough to risk dying for," Jaina said with a shoulder shudder. The bounty hunter and the high roller seemed to think so. Jason thought for a moment. All those bounty hunters must be assuming That born on Thol disappeared voluntarily and doesn't want to be found, he said. Otherwise, why go search such great lengths to get Raynar and Arwen as hostages? Krusk and his brother must have indeed intended to lure Thol from hiding using his family as bait, Talcott agreed. What else do we know? Well, if Thol is hiding, something must have happened to spook him, Jaina observed, and spook him badly. In a flash, an idea hit Jason. Hey, EMTD, access the new reports in the week leading up to the time Born on Thol disappeared. Why, certain, Master Jason. What sort of news? Jason shrugged. I'm not sure. Look for anything big or significant that might have happened along the general route that Born on Thol would have taken between Kuvar and the trade conference of Shumnavar. Dear me, EMT exclaimed. I suppose that narrows it down a bit, but do you know how many systems there are? Just do your best, Jason said. I always do, Master Jason, the droid replied. One moment. Here's something. A double solar eclipse occurred at the fourth planet of Dare system. The young Jedi exchanged glances. Finally, Jason said, I don't think that helps us any. What else do you have? EMTD made a noise that sounded oddly like gnashing teeth, and then continued. There was a global election on Kath 2, he paused briefly, notable only for the fact that not a single human being was elected to office. Although fully one-third of Kath's population is human. The Diversity Alliance is campaigning heavily there. Lowy barked a comment. Yes, very odd, EMT said. Probably won't help us in our search, though, Jane said, raising her eyebrows and waiting. Please continue, EMTD, Talcott prompted. Odder still, EMTD murmured after a short pause to retrieve more data. It seems that contact was completely lost with all non-human colony on the planet Gamalion. No one has heard from them since the day after Born on Thol's appointment on Kumbar was taking place. Anything else? Jason asked. In all probability, yes, Master Jason. EMT said, please be patient. I have 15,342 other files to search. Jason leaned back in his seat and sighed. The trip to Kumara was going to be a long one.